These powerful deep bonds connecting us, buddy. Can you believe it? Buddyfight in 2025? Well, Bushiroad sure does believe it, as they have made a collab set for future card Buddyfight and Cardfight Vanguard, a card game that died 5 years ago. It's actually quite smart marketing when you think about it. All the kids that grew up playing Buddyfight back in the day, they're all now in college or university or in entry-level jobs, and they have money now. And that means they have the money to spend on a new card game with their favorite old IP. So in case you live under a rock, this collab is coming to English, by the way. I think it's confirmed for November, if I'm not mistaken. And it introduces the Buddyfight Nation. So this is all just stuff that you can use amongst itself. It ports over 2 types of Dragon World decks, Magic World, Katana World, Ein, as well as Yamigeto. And if you're a Vanguard player that's never played Buddyfight, then I highly recommend that you check out the Buddyfight anime, because it's got a lot of just fun joy and this kind of childish flair to it that I think is really, really nice. In case you don't know, my first ever win in a regional was for Buddyfight. I have a pretty big track record of just topping in Buddyfight in general. It was a card game I took more seriously than Vanguard for several years, because in English we had best of 3 with side deck in this game, which was pretty crazy for a Bushiroad game at the time, and even today it's still pretty crazy for a Bushiroad game. But anyway, enough preamble, let's get into it. I have a box here of the Buddyfight collab set. As you can see, it's kind of like a mini booster style. I also picked up a bunch of the Buddyfight decks in terms of playsets. I can show you that before we start opening. I already kind of introduced which decks are in this, but basically I picked up playsets for Drum. So this is one of the Dragon World decks. So you basically have the rod line is the flag, and then the character is the ride deck grade 3, but you can see you have all the different drums from across the years in infinite power added to Vanguard for the first time ever as well. So all that kind of stuff. So I picked up Drum, and then I also picked up one of the decks that is was said to be very good and was quite cheap, which is Tetsuya, with of course none other than Asmodai. So this deck basically just kind of reads good. It does the things that a good card game deck would want to do. So I felt like it was a pretty safe pickup. So I got this for like 40 bucks, I want to say. And then Gao was for about 65, I guess. And then for about 65, 70, I also picked up Tusku. So this was, of the decks that are in this, my favorite one is Jackknife. Just because of course, I liked Jackknife back in the day, especially Gold Ritter. I played when Gold Ritter came out. I played this deck back in the day as well. But the problem is that my favorite worlds in Buddyfight are Hero World, no surprise, Danger World, because that's my first ever top, and then Dungeon World. So none of those managed to come, and I really hope that means that we do get a second Buddyfight set. The other problem with this set is that it dropped 2 weeks before set 10, which is a anime-based set that a lot of people are, saving money for and planning to build and whatnot. So I felt like the timing of this was a little bit rough. I hope it's slightly more favorable in English. I can't remember if it is or not. When you open up the box, you get yourself the Buddyfight Ride Deck Crest. So instead of Energy Generator, you get the Gauge Zone. This allows you to, every turn, charge and draw. So you put the top two cards of your deck as face down Gauge, and then you use that to pay for costs. And then every turn, you can pull 1 card from hand into your Gauge to draw 1 at the start of turn. And then also, you can Buddy Call once per game, which is that when your Vanguard's a grade 3, you can choose a Buddy monster in your order zone, call it to rear, and countercharge 1. So that is basically how the Buddyfight decks work. You get a Buddy monster together with the Gauge Zone and everything. So it's pretty cool. It's also nice to get 1 in each box. But inside one of these, so there's a total of 19 triple rares and 1 over trigger. 26 doubles, 32 rares, 53 commons, 6 secrets, 6 secret flags. 1 secret I think is pulled in one master case, which is in Japan 3 cases, in English 2 cases. Then secret flags, I think I heard you get about 2 per. Was it 2 per case or 2 per master case? I can't remember. Then the KRs, these are called Kyukyoku rares. They're like ultra rares, kind of ultimate rares. These are 19 of, and apparently you get 1 to 2 per case, which is also not too great. 14 buddy rares, you get 1 per box, and then 85 holos, and I'm not sure how many holos you get per box, but they brought back the holo rarity, which existed in the first year or so of original D series. You see the pack art here, it has Drum and Gao on it, which looks very nice, and then this is the back. So let's get opening and take a look As you might tell by the uploading date, I'm uploading this about a week late. The reason why was that I was really busy with my PhD, so unfortunately I couldn't get this out earlier. We have a Hardcore of Mind. This is supports for Magic World. If you have a 72 pillars, 2 or more rear guard 72 pillars trait, then you can choose 3 72 pillars from your drop and put them to the gauge. Not too bad. We have the grade 0 that bounces when it finishes attacking or boosting. Then, we have the Kyoya grade 2 of the ride line. When you ride over him, he puts the top card of your deck into your gauge and draws 1. The heal trigger for Katana World, this one. So the heal triggers are like, they're orders, but they are also, they have other effects as well. So this is going to be a 15k shield, like, that you can guard with, or you can put this to the gauge and then put the top card of your deck into the gauge too, but that does deck you out pretty quickly. Okay, we have the Lindworm. This is a holo. It's not a double rare, it's just a holo. So this says when placed on rear, you can discard 100 demon to draw 1. And then if you have 100 demons in your soul, if this is in the buddy soul of 100 demons, it gives that intercept and 5k shield. So pretty interesting. Okay, we got our first holo. And then we have the rares. The rare foiling is a little bit different this time. This one is pay 1 gauge and then choose 2 72 pillar normal units with the same name that aren't sentinels. And then you can put them back to your hand. Kind of interesting. And this is the Ikazuchi weapon, basically, as well. So I broke down all these reveals on stream. I didn't make a first impressions video for this set yet. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to make one, because I definitely can. Just because the next set is coming out so soon that I was like, do I even have time? But I was just so busy that I didn't really have the time. So if you don't mind it late, I can definitely still do it. So let me know. We have the Tetsuya ride line. This looks at top 5 when written over for a order card or a non-sentinel 72 pillars and adds it to your hand. Not too bad. It's a search effect. CB1 choose opponent's rear guard, retire it for a front. That's kind of a cool effect. We have the Gao as well. He draws you, he lets you look at top 7 for a grade 1 or lower item, add it to your hand, or search your deck for a Sunshine Impact and equip it without paying the cost, which is pretty cool. We have a double rare. Okay, this is not a holo. Maybe I'll put the commons on the side here. We'll put the holos here, and then we'll kind of pile everything together and then show you what we got afterwards. This is the Dunstan. So you pay 1 gauge when you call him in order to call him. And then when he's called, he looks for your drop, deck, or face-up damage for a 100 demon set order and puts it to order zone. And then if you search your deck shelf for your deck, if you put it from order zone, put the top card of your deck into your order zone. So basically just one of the searchers, kind of like the Odium searcher that we got back in, or we're getting in the next set, I guess. Then we have the Dragonic Punisher. This is the impact card, which of course was very famous in Buddyfight, or like just impact cards in general, like one of like the big flavors of Buddyfight that of course don't exist in Vanguard. So you cannot play this, and you can only use this card if you haven't used a impact yet or haven't resolved an impact yet. So end of your turn in your hand, if you have a Jackknife Rearguard, Karmos 1, discard this and pay 2 gauge and say final phase. And then you choose a Jackknife Rearguard, stand it, and it can attack your opponent's Vanguard. So it's kind of cool just because it basically gives you an extra attack. And it also, is like a big finisher that happens not even in the battle phase, which is pretty cool. Dragonic Charge charges 2 gauge from top of your deck, which is also pretty nice. How many packs do we even have in total? Actually, I wasn't even counting. So we opened 2 already. So we have another 4, so that's 6. 8, 10, 12. All right, 12 packs of Buddyfight to enjoy. A lot of shops didn't order too much stock of this set, so I hurried to get a box on Friday morning when this released, but it's already been almost a week, and there's still stock in some shops, like pretty easily findable. So that's also pretty good to see that, you can still find some. But it's also because the set's not like busted or anything, people aren't as incentivized to build the decks, because it's like you might as well just build the regular Vanguard decks, and then you know that the single prices will potentially increase over time. Ikazuchi grade 2 of the ride line, when you ride over the grade 3, it looks at top 5 for a Thundermine and adds it to your hand. So Thundermine is like the whole gimmick of that deck. We have the heal trigger. Check. This is what is this? Chillax. So it's a 15k shield, or when you guard with it, pay 1 gauge. When your unit would be attacked, you can give it plus 5k, but then you lose that ability after that. Ooh, we have a pretty cool buddy rare here. Hold up. Can you pull a buddy rare card? We did it. Katana World Flag into, ooh, Azidahaka buddy rare. Damn. All right, slay, not bad. Sheesh, okay. So in a box, you are confirmed to get a buddy rare, and they are textured very nicely. Wow. So each of them have their own special foiling pattern, which was also a very nice touch. The original Buddy rares, I think, in Buddyfight were kind of just like plain gold, I think. So Azidahaka is the Kyoya deck boss monster. It's a grade 4 that you cannot ride. Pays 2 gauge to be called, and then when he attacks, you can choose an Azidahaka from your hand or drop and bind it. If you did for that battle, this attacks all of your opponent's front row at the same time. And if this is retired during your opponent's turn, or when you would check a damage, if your Vanguard doesn't have an item equipped, then you can search your deck or drop for a Quilta Gwyneth, which is a specific item, and equip it to your Vanguard if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. So very good pull to get in Buddy Rare, honestly. This is a very strong one, so definitely quite happy about that. Then we have the PG for Magic World, as well as this is a set order for 100 Demons as well. But damn, okay. We pulled the Buddy Rare pretty early. I've heard there are some boxes where you can get 2 Buddy Rares, but it's pretty rare, I think. So it's kind of nice, though, that you have a chance for that. Man, it's kind of... It's the fact that we have Danger World, but we don't have Danger World. It's like, that's what bothers me the most, I think. Same with Ancient World, too. It's just like a little bit disappointing. We have one of the... This is another Yamagito support. So pay 1 gauge when this is called. Search your drop for a Thundermine ability effect card, and that's a grade 1 or lower, and call it to rear. So it's like a revive card. So this is a double rare, actually. It's not even a holo, so we'll put this here. The holo, we got a crit for 100 Demons, which is pretty nice. So that's a good holo to get. We got this guy that we got in holo earlier, and then the crit for Katana World. Katana World and 100 Demons are kind of like the worst ones, because Katana World just like decks itself out by existing, and 100 Demons feels like they over nerfed it for some reason. The only deck I've seen actually getting tops has been Jack. So the only one that's been getting tops like in the regular Vanguard format has been Jack, and I'm surprised that Drum hasn't been getting as many tops. But we got our first triple rare. It is the Drum Bunker Dragon himself. Very nice, of course. The literally face of the game. Although he wasn't around as much as you would think for being the face of the game. You know, Gao definitely did swap around his buddy monsters quite often, but the card itself is pretty cool. It basically says you pay 1 gauge and put the top card of your deck into its buddy soul to call this. Then you pay 1 gauge as an act, search your deck or drop for a different named Drum and call him on top of him without paying the call cost. And then when your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, the Drum that this is in the Buddy Soul of gets plus 5k power plus 5k shield, and this also has Soul Guard, which means that if this will be removed from Rearguard Circle, then you can discard one of the Buddy Souls to make it remain on the Rearguard Circle. So pretty cool. We got our first triple. I'm curious what the box ratios actually are. So far we've hit a couple like bits and bobs of everything. Azidahaka flag, so this is kind of crazy. It makes your damage be like go to 7, so it's like Redon, and you know it's already like everything else about this deck is also very good. So that deck definitely does feel like it's a little bit overstated. Look at this Hero World, but it's not Hero World. It's freaking Yamagito support. That's what upsets me, you know. Like that's the part that's annoying. This card's also not too bad. It's a draw trigger for Magic World, but technically could be like it's for 100 Demons, but can be used in Magic World too. It's just an order that gives minus 5k to all your opponent's rear guards. So if it was a Blitz order, that'd be very good. Because it's a normal order, it's kind of bad actually. Now that I think about it, for some reason in my head I thought it was a Blitz order, but that was not the case. I was just dreaming. It was all just a dream, unfortunately. This card, I remember, was pretty crazy at the time in the original Buddyfight. Here's a grade 1 that when you call it to rear, pay 1 gauge, search it for a set order, reveal it as your hand. Okay, well, let's search for set orders. It's kind of cool. We have Tsukikage, my bad. So Tsukikage, of course, the face of Katana World. When you call him to rear, if you have not called another Nano Machine Tsukikage this turn, then you can pay 1 gauge and retire him to search your deck or drop for a different named non-sentinel grade 2 or lower ninja for up to 2 of them, and reveal them to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. During your opponent's turn, when this would be removed from Rearguard Circle, you can discard 1 to keep him on the Rearguard Circle. So it's very much like his original effect, basically how he was back in the day. And then we have the draw, as well as one of the, this is one of the, Kyoya support cards for Azidahaka. So we can hit the most, like the best triple rares to hit. Tuska grade 3 is a good one, and then Kyoya, as well as the Pissarro, which is support for both Kyoya and 100 Demons. That's the best triple rare because it supports 2 different decks, so that's why it's really good. Ooh, what was this again? So you put this to the gauge and draw 1, and if you don't have a face-up damage, countercharge 1, and if this turn you can play up to 2 orders, but the other one has to be the like other ancient world order, but I forget the name of it, but they go in a pair basically, so it's pretty cool. Oh, we have another triple rare. So this one is the Omnilord drum. Pretty cool, although I do wish, you know, we don't just get drums for triple rares, but there is, you know, a couple of them. So this drum, you can pay 1 gauge and put the top card of your deck under him as a buddy soul to call him. And then once per turn, you, when he attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can pay 1 gauge, choose and put its rear guard, retire it. It gets plus 10k for the turn. From a rear guard circle, when you damage check something, if your Vanguard is Gao grade 3 or greater, if you don't have another rear guard with the same name as him, then your opponent has to discard 1 card from their hand, and he also has the buddy soul. So I feel like that's quite good. Every time you take a damage, if he's on the board, force your opponent to discard is quite strong, I'd say. So I feel like that, you know, there is the future drum as well that is quite good, but I feel like this is the drum you want to be passing turns on, just to kind of give your opponent this sort of like scary floodgate to worry about. So pretty cool. They have the Yamigeto shields, and then the katana, the actual freaking sword, and then now we're left with just 3 packs or so. So 3 triples so far. I wonder how many we actually get. Is it 3? Is it 4? I mean, probably not 3, but 4 or 5 I'd imagine, because it is kind of like a mini booster. So let's see. We have the crit for Jack. We have the Tetsuya grade 2, the OT. So this OT technically does not have the Buddyfight nation, so it can be used in everything. So its bonus effect is you choose a normal order from your drop and add it back to your hand, and then you choose your Vanguard, give it a crit for the turn, and then you choose a Buddy monster on your rear and give it an extra crit for the turn. So it's kind of just meant to be used in Buddyfight. And even in Buddyfight decks, I do feel like this likely will be replaced by other things. And then we also got of course, the main order that you use in Katana World, and it's also kind of, it's like meant to be countering triggers, but I feel like the way they did it in Vanguard just did not work out to be so good compared to how it was in Buddyfight. Even in Buddyfight itself, it was kind of clunky, so I don't know. I feel like instead of Katana, they could have adopted a different deck. That's like my only real opinion here. This guy's kind of crazy. When he attacks, TB1 get a crit. He's like, for grade 1, that's like kind of random, but you know, at least it's only usable in Buddyfight. But then we have this Thunderstorm Jackknife. This one's pretty decent too. Pay 1 gauge and put this over a Jackknife to call it, and then you can pay 1 gauge, choose and put in its rear guard and retire it. If your Vanguard has Gold Ritter attached, then this gets plus 10k for the turn, and he also has Soul Guard, so pretty decent. That's also, and then we also have, very importantly, the Gargantua Punisher. This is the better of the impact, so it has the same clause as the previous one. This cannot be played normally, and you can only use this if you haven't resolved a impact yet this game. In hand at the end of the turn, if your opponent's 4 or more damage. If you Persona Road this turn, counterbalance 1, discard this, pay 4 gauge and declare final phase, and then stand your Vanguard and attack your opponent's Vanguard with it. It's pretty cool, very flashy, as it should be. This dealt 4 damage in original Buddyfight, and while I was saying that, we're down to the last pack. So that just kind of wrapped around very quickly. I guess we should have one more triple rare. Let's hope for Nazi Dahaka. So we do have the Yamigeto flag, a Katana World rod line, okay, Kyoya, into a double rare. So this is one the set orders for 100 demons, into a rare, into, ooh, just 3 triples. Damn, okay. I guess it's actually, I was expecting 4, but I guess we got the 4th through the Buddy rare. So I guess that's kind of decent. So to summarize, these are the rares. Obviously, we get quite a few of them. That's nothing too surprising, I suppose. And then you get 2 holos. I do think it was 2 holos in original D series Vanguard as well. And then the 1 OT. I'm assuming the OT is also in every box. And then for doubles, we got 5 different doubles as well from 12 packs. So that's also pretty decent. And then we have 3 triples. So in this case, we got 1 Katana as well as 2 Dragon World, so 2 of them were drum for Dragon World, and then finally we got 1 Buddy rare, and it was the Azidahaka. So pretty decent pulls, I'd say, overall. Definitely quite cool. How are you guys feeling about this collab going into English? Of course, it is confirmed to be coming out and pretty much on time, which is definitely very good because I think the overall like reception for Buddyfight, a lot of people miss Buddyfight in English too. So I hope that this set is well received in English as well. With that though, that's gonna be it for me today. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.